tuning in. You're watching Now You Know, a technology enthusiast channel reviewing and discussing all things tech. And today we are going to review Tesla versus EV startups. Now I chose 3 vehicles to review. We're going to go through some basic foundations, what the vehicle is, some pros and cons, some tech, just to get an idea of how they compare over to Tesla. The first vehicle that we're going to review today is by Lucid Motors. It is the Lucid Air. This beautiful vehicle behind me is absolutely stunning in and out. Not only is it beautiful in and out, but it also comes with some very cool tech and some very impressive specifications. This vehicle was designed after a luxury jet, is what I'm being told. Lucid says this vehicle will start at $60,000, and that is, of course, before tax incentives, for a 400 horsepower rear-wheel drive sedan, which will have about 240 miles of range. Some of the cool tech is going to be the voice recognition. It will have actually 4 displays, 2 up in the cluster, 1 off to the center console, and actually another down below. And the one down below actually is motorized and looks like it moves up into the dash to access like a compartment of some sort. We'll have some beam foaming microphones placed throughout the vehicle for better and free interaction with the vehicle and its systems. So that's something actually pretty cool, because I think that that's what Tesla lacks a little bit, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Lucid is actually taking a $2,500 refundable reservation deposit, but the car is not due to ship until 2019. Now here's sort of the issue that I have. On November 29th in 2016, some company officials announced that a $700 million manufacturing plant will be built in Casa Grande, Arizona. And that will employ 2,000 workers by the year 2020 and eventually build 20 to 130,000 vehicles per year. Wow, that's actually a lot of vehicles for a manufacturing plant that is not yet built. Lucid has been having issues with funding. I mean, they do have some money, but there's other manufacturers looking to actually purchase Lucid. There were a handful that were interested. I've read that Ford is sort of the top runner to acquire or looking to acquire Lucid. And to be honest with you, I don't want to knock Ford, but I haven't had the great experiences with their vehicle or their service centers. So I do hope that Lucid can just go ahead and produce the vehicle and not have to sell it off. So let's dive into some of the pros here real quick. Well-designed vehicle, as you can see, both inside and out. $60,000 price tag. Now there'll actually be 2 models. There'll be Founders Edition with some additional battery and some additional horsepower. The basic battery will be a 240 mile range, 100 kilowatt battery. And the long range version will be a 130 kilowatt battery with a 400 mile range. Fairly impressive. Interior, very well appointed. You can see that it looks and speaks luxury. Absolutely. We'll have summons control, automated driving, voice recognition, and basically all the bells and whistles that you're seeing on the market today. And I'll tell you, if this vehicle was actually available, I may have to go get this thing. It is absolutely stunning both in and out. But let's talk about some of the cons. What about a charging network? How are they going to service these vehicles when they actually start producing them? I'd love to know what you think. Comment down below, because it's just hard for me to believe that the production timelines and the quantities of production that they're actually giving when the factory is not even built is just sort of exaggerated in my opinion. I mean, I love the look of this vehicle. I hope they can get it done. But what are your thoughts? Do you think that this thing compares to the Model S? It's sort of been deemed as the Model S killer. So comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. The second vehicle I wanted to review with you today is Bitein's SUV or SIV. It debuted globally at CES in January of 2018 this year. This SUV or SIV will be manufactured at Bitein's plant in Nanjing, China. Its price will start at about $45,000, very moderately priced, before tax incentives. We're not sure where it's going to land as far as a base model and additional feature models are concerned. I'm sure they'll be giving us or providing some of that information here within the next year or so. The car will be available, according to Bitein, in China towards the end of 2019 and starting in the US and Europe in 2020. Now you guys got to listen to these specs because they are off the charts. Some of the key features for this vehicle include a shared lounge experience. Look at the video behind you. The chairs actually rotate for in-car communication. Very cool. Sort of for autonomous driving or autopilot driving, but still nonetheless, very, very cool. Entertainment with content and connection driven by Bitein Life Cloud platform. I'd love to get some more information on that, and once I do, I will provide it to you, but that's basically what they're giving us right now. There will be a single display, 49 inches wide, 10 inches high, called the Shared Experience Display, along with unique vehicle interaction incorporating voice recognition, listen up, touchscreen control, biometric identification, and hands-free gesturing. Wow. That's a lot of tech. And actually, I think some of that tech is missing from specifically the Model 3, but the Model S and the X as well. This being a new vehicle, it is sort of pronounced that, hey, we have to have some new tech to accompany it. But I mean, this thing is absolutely beautiful. It also is going to incorporate Amazon's Alexa for intelligent voice control with additional Amazon collaboration from audio and video content. So I'm not sure what that all means. If that means if you're a Prime member, you can download audio and video content right to the vehicle. That's something to keep our eyes on. That's a pretty sweet feature. And it's also been announced that this is the first Smart Intuitive Vehicle, or SIV, not called an SUV. Let's dig into the pros. Starting at $45,000, maybe getting out ahead of the Model Y. Not really sure where that thing is going to be priced in at, but many people speculate around that price point. Two battery sizes, 71 kilowatt battery ranging for 250 miles and a 95 kilowatt battery with a range of 325 miles. Beautiful design in and out. I think that the unique vehicle interaction incorporating voice control, the touch control, biometric identification, and especially the hand gesture control, I think is just some awesome, awesome tech. So digging into the cons of this vehicle, again, the big one. What about a supercharging network? How are they going to service these vehicles with no buildings, no infrastructure to be able to do so? And I didn't see or find anywhere with plans stating how they're going to do this once they actually start producing the vehicle, especially in the US. I just don't see or could not find anything solidifying how they're going to do that. Are you willing to actually put an order on this vehicle? What are your thoughts of the tech that I mentioned? Comment down below and let me know your thoughts. And actually, if you are a Model S or X owner, and if you can comment down below and just let me know what you think that those vehicles are missing compared to some of the features and techs that I have mentioned so far. The last vehicle I wanted to review with you is the Kia Niro DV. This is another SUV type, maybe Model Y competitor. It has a 64 watt lithium polymer battery with 238 miles of range. Price point is going to start at around $39,000. But here's the kicker. It's Kia. They have manufacturing facilities, service centers all over the country. The only thing that they actually do lack is a charging network. But they may actually have plans to get some of that stuff installed, or some kind of plan on how they're going to use existing destination chargers throughout the country to be able to support their vehicle. But they actually do have a leg up because they actually can produce this vehicle with probably no issues. They already have a hybrid version of this vehicle out, but this will be full electric. So some of the things tech that they're going to have on board with this vehicle is heating and audio control via gesturing. There's actually going to be a little pad in the steering wheel where you can gesture over just like you would your phone to swipe controls or whatever it may be. So I think that that's actually very cool, especially when it comes into autonomous driving or autopilot driving, to keep your eyes on the road, even though the vehicle is doing most of the work for you, which we should still always pay attention to the road. That you can do some of these without reaching over and having to get into a touchscreen or menus to control some of the things. So I think that actually this vehicle could potentially be a success for Kia. So we'll have to see. Now, there are a bunch of other vehicles, EVs that are coming out to the market: Mercedes, BMW, Jaguar. Don't have time to review them all, but maybe I'll do an episode 2 and we can dig into some of those vehicles as well. But there are about 5 vehicles that are struggling or trying to make it to market. And I'm going to link them down below so you guys can actually go check them out and let me know what your thoughts are on them. And a lot of these vehicles will be making their debut at the Geneva Motor show here in March. So that's going to be interesting to sort of track and see what comes out of that show. And we can report back on that once we get some information. So I wanted to get into Tesla and some of the issues or concerns that I may have with them, and maybe you do as well. Should you consider buying, if they were available, any of the EVs that I had mentioned? Lucid, Bitein, Kia. I think they're all formidable, but how do they get this vehicle out to mass market? How do they catch up to Tesla? Tesla has service centers all over the country, all over the world, including a supercharging and destination charging network that's just off the charts. Will they be able to catch Tesla? I don't know if it matters or not, but I think that Tesla is setting the groundwork or the foundation for these other manufacturers to come in and try to understand, what they need to do to just, make their vehicles sustainable and not just used for, running to the grocery store and back home, but to actually use these vehicles like an ICE vehicle and travel across the country or whatever you wish to do with it. So right now, Tesla has 3 vehicles in production: the S, the X, and the 3, if you want to count the Roadster. But what they do have coming up is the new Roadster and an electric semi. That's a pretty big deal. They're able to manufacture these cars. They have a support structure in place to be able to support these vehicles. They have sold over 100,000 vehicles so far. I'm sure that number is skewed a little bit. Again, I mentioned they have service centers all over the world, a much higher concentration in the US. You can check out the maps for yourself here and just sort of understand what the impact of their service centers have across the country and across the world. They're just available. They have a full supported super and destination charging network worldwide. That's huge. That is absolutely huge. I know that I'd be able to jump in my Tesla and drive it anywhere without any issues. And I think that that may be a factor as to why people are choosing Tesla or will choose Tesla over some of these EV startups that we've mentioned. They will have over-the-air updates just like all the other manufacturers will. If you're having a problem with your vehicle, they can also assess and diagnose it that way as well. And as they release new features, they will be able to download it right to the vehicle. That's cool. But here's a little tidbit. Tesla actually announced, I got an email about 2 weeks ago, that they added 88 superchargers, 51 charging partners, and 3 mobile service units just to my region alone. That's pretty substantial. Again, as I mentioned, I feel confident that I can go anywhere and be able to be serviced and not have to worry about my vehicle. Tesla also announced that in 2017, as part of their global communication to service strategy, they added 3 times the service capacity, 100 new service centers, and 1,400 new technicians, and 350 new mobile service vans. Wow. That's a pretty large infrastructure and support structure for you and your Tesla vehicle. They also stated that they will come to you should your vehicle need service, as many of the issues can be fixed without even going to one of their service centers. So, hey, Tesla, I'm having an issue with my vehicle. Let me get in and diagnose. Okay, yeah, we can't diagnose it or fix it over the air. We're gonna go ahead and roll a vehicle out to you. That's huge. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to be part of their extended warranty plan, or if it's included, or if it's going to be additional cost. I'm under the assumption that it is part of their 4-year service plan, or whatever it is that you purchase with your vehicle. So that's pretty outstanding. And for these competitors to try and make it to this, platform or foundation that Tesla has set, they have a lot of work ahead of them. But that's not to say that Tesla doesn't lack some of the features that I mentioned in the other vehicles. Voice recognition, system control, gesturing, etc. I'd love to hear from some current owners on what your thoughts are, comparing some of the tech in the EV startups versus what Tesla currently has. For example, I think that the Model 3 absolutely needs a HUD. There's been a lot of videos that I've watched, and I've heard people complain about how the destination or turn-by-turn directions on the display are way too far off to the right. And if they would just pop that up on a HUD along with the speed control or speedometer, you would absolutely have a much more enjoyable experience. For me, I don't like having the voice on when I do turn by turn. I just like to visually look at it. As I'm driving, you can see it on the map. Hey, you're going to turn here in a 1/10 of a mile or whatever it is. So I think that that's huge. The other complaint that I heard is the difficulty using autopilot with having to adjust plus or minus the speed. You actually have to reach into the touch panel and tap a plus or minus symbol located on the touchscreen. Whereas in the Model S and X, it is a tap of the stalk up or down to increase or decrease your speed. Maybe they can add that to the stock on the 3. I don't really know what the capabilities are, but I think that those are two major features that the Model 3 lack. Let me know your thoughts. If you're a current Model 3 owner, correct me if I'm wrong, but these are what I'm hearing out in the community. A lot of videos out there, stating some of these things, but I'd love to hear from you. So comment down below, and we can certainly have a discussion. So in my opinion, I think that gesture control and an advanced voice control system to operate some of the features in the vehicle would definitely be a benefit. Maybe they can add these features to their vehicles. I really don't know what tech is behind that, but it certainly would be a step forward for Tesla. But for me, some of the things in the future, I just believe that Tesla is just leading the EV industry, obviously. And it is going to take the other startups years to provide the service, convenience, and model choices that Tesla offers today. So I think they have a long way to go. So let's just put this all together. Let's wrap it up. I just want to state that it's fantastic that other companies are entering into the EV market and displaying new technologies and advancements. It's huge. It's just going to, allow the industry to take off, give us consumers better options in the marketplace. The movement towards a sustainable and cleaner environment is the goal. And I hope that all EV concepts make it to market and provide a spectrum of vehicles for us. So thank you for tuning in. And if you have any comments, please feel free to jot those down below. I'd love to interact with you. If you enjoyed the video, please give a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Now you know. Thank you for watching.